So here I am again building another Muncie 4-speed. These are one of my Spec 25s I build for the vintage and historic road racing applications. I've already done a lot of videos on Muncies, and rather than bore you with another video on this stuff, it got me thinking that a couple of months ago I was in Indianapolis at the Indianapolis Convention Center for the Performance Racing Show. It was back in December of 2014. That show has got a large selection of people doing a wide variety of things from ignition systems, wheels, engines, and especially manual transmissions. And a lot of the people that do the manual transmissions at that show are friends of mine. And I decided to go to every one of their booths and kind of shoot video on what they're doing with the latest products they have and some of the new innovations and some of the technology they're putting out in regards to manual transmissions. So come with me along on this video and check it out. Please subscribe to my channel and let me know what you think, okay? I think you'll like it. First stop, Rockland standard gear, makers of the Transzilla 6-speed. It's based on the Magnus 6-speeds from Tremac. So we'll take a look around at some of their transmissions and what they look like.
Well, today what we're doing was a lot of the T56 stuff is now becoming obsoleted. Tremac is obsoleting a tremendous amount of T56 product because one, it's old. They've come up with a new gear design which is called a Magnum. We've actually learned how to utilize the Magnum gear train in a T56 transmission. So any one of the T56 transmissions built from 1993 to the current, which was 2007, we can convert over to a Magnum.
Great.
Which will give you more foot-pounds of torque, no more keys to brake. It gives you triple cone, double cone synchros, which are all the same size, and your 5th and 6th overdrives now come with sintered metal and carbon rings. Awesome. Bunch of changes in gear sets. We come with a 229, a 297, and a 266.
You got that? Rockland standard gear. That's rsgear.com. I'm at the Liberty's Gears booth at the PRI show. Here's some of the items that they make. They make heavy-duty shift lugs for T5s, your bronze bushings for the T5 shifter cups, the shift fork insert. Here's an example of a modified pro-shifted gear where they actually cut the synchro teeth off the gear and weld a lug on it to increase, this is what they used to call them in the day, the crash boxes. These are 12-tooth sliders. So basically when they go into the gear like this, you have a huge air gap, which allows them to shift very fast. This is faceplating. Faceplating is a little bit different. Same kind of thing, but notice the faceplates are very tiny. This gives you a lot more space to make wider gears. Notice how thin the faceplate is compared to the lug on the old ProShift method. Here's another example of a faceplated gear. This is a faceplated TKO transmission. You can see the faceplates over here. All the gears have been shot peened and surface enhanced. Even the back end of it's been faceplated. So this is what they do for road racing on the TKO transmission. But is it a 5-speed or a 5-speed? There's a 5-speed clutch equalizer with air shifting. This is all done with an air shifter controller on it. This is an all-wheel drive transmission in a Skyline. This is actually used for drag racing. Okay, this is the Liberty's signature dual cluster transmission. So what happens is your main drive section, in other words your input shaft is in the middle, and you have 2 counter gears. And what this does is it neutralizes spreading because the load now is distributed equally on both sides. So there's no deflection anymore of the main gear train. The gear train is in the middle, so it's not moving away from anything anymore. That also doubles the load capacity of the transmission because you're running on 2 counter gears now. How much horsepower can this thing take?
You're not right.
4,000? 4,000 horsepower.
What it'll do is it'll come out and
all right, this Speed Demon car here. How fast does this car go?
467. 462 it's going.
462 miles an hour using this transmission. It's an air-shifted 7-speed box. CNC case by Liberty's.
it's got like a second board.
Oh, air.
This is Craig Liberty, the man. Wait, this is Craig Liberty here. Been around for years. He is the man when it comes to pro shifting and face plating. 3650, 1,000 horsepower using G-force gears with an adapter plate to fit GM and Mopar. This is the G101A. This is a lot of people use these for drag racing, and it is set up with your typical vertigate style shifter where you pull this thing, you bring the spring up, and you just go through the gears like this, and all the way down the gates this way. Some people used to call these vertigate shifters in the day. Basically meant you pull it back and forth like this, the gate drops down and goes through the gears. So this is no H pattern.
You got one of these guys, right?
This is a Super T10 that has had all the gears rimmed or micro finish, so they call it super finishing. This is a typical Richmond Gears Super T10 that's been gone through and had all the super finishing done on the gear teeth, but it's a full synchronized transmission. Long currently makes some of the nicest shifters around. You have these beefy rods with Heim joints in them, and this is the, what is the name of this shifter, this particular one? The what?
We would probably need some.
The HD 4000. That's where they come out this way. And the reason for these to come out this way is for ground clearance or something.
They will tell you they're.
So it gives a better straighter throw, right?
Other plant.
So if you look here, what they've done is they've made the arms come straight out this way rather than down to offer a straighter throw, more direct link to the shifter shafts in the transmission.
It may be 10 seconds.
This transmission here won the, what cup? The Winston Cup? Winston Cup champions. 4-speed for a 6-speed.
4-speed dog ring.
Dog ring single rail shifter.
Single rail.
Right. These are the gears from that?
These are the gears and the sliders. It's a fully ball bearing gear.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's cool. Never seen that one before. So basically the bearing runs on the main shaft and then
Runs on the main shaft and actually spins. It's like a,
beauty. Right. And then well, obviously once it's locked to the main shaft with
this
the
is
slide.
actually what we call our GSR training, but this is our GSR2 because it's got a smaller slider and dog ring package in it.
Right. See it.
Versus the big sliders.
Right, so it's a nice lightweight.
Nice weight, improves acceleration rate, there's lower drag rates. It's just
Sure.
you just
Yeah, it's
look at
awesome.
it.
Right.
So
Now on a Winston Cup car, how much horsepower do they usually have?
most of the Cup cars today's around 940.
940 horse, like that.
Yeah.
And typically, I know a lot of times these guys they will like change out gears, because they don't want to leave in the car forever.
Yeah. So servicing, we send them back to us. We go through, change out the parts, Magnus flux, check everything.
So usually they have to be checked after every race, or
No, what we got on our deal, we go by a certain amount of mileage.
a certain amount of mileage. That's a beauty. I'm at Roltek Transmissions. Roltek specializes in making Super T10 race transmissions and transmissions for NASCAR and all sorts of stuff. Roltek makes their own case for the T10. It's using basically stock T10 gears with one of their rollerized main shafts. Roltek makes their own shifter with beautiful stainless steel rods. All the cases are Teflon coated and rimmed gears. What unit is this, Todd?
That's a 3-speed.
That's the 3 speeds?
Yeah, the reverse gear is inside the main case.
Oh, it's inside the main case. I see, right over there.
Yep.
So this thing slides forward, is that what happens?
Well, it's the same. It's a reverse lockout. Okay, this is that's first.
Right.
Second, third. Okay, and we got to build a special reverse lockout on the long shifter, so you can't put it in reverse until you push it down and over.
Right. And these are the little reverse gears, so
Yep.
nice and light.
Yep.
What's something like this weigh? 70 pounds?
69 for a 3-speed, maybe 70 for a 4-speed. 70.
This is a 4-speed version of this. Same principle, basically, the dog rings. What do you call this box again?
That's just our Roltek 4-speed transmission.
Right. I love the colors.
reverse on this is in the tail,
Detail.
just like a Muncie.
Right. You're doing the same thing with like the button type case of reinforcing,
Yep.
so you put the wider surface area.
Yep.
Right.
There's an O-ring bushing in there.
Yeah. You find that they help a lot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Save the cases.
Okay, you take the Richmond Gear Super T10 case, you cut this down for low profile here,
Yep. Or ours, we can do ours the same.
and then you make a billet extension housing
Yeah, that's got a roller tail in it.
and a roller tail in it. And the idea of this is for what? Just low ground clearance and what, lightweight?
Low ground clearance, lightweight, roller bearing tail.
Pretty neat. This is Roltek's beautiful shifter. So, Mark, what's the name of this transmission?
Andrews 8431 transmission.
Okay. And what is unique about this box? It's a cup transmission?
It's a cup transmission, 4-speed, H pattern, but it has now spread into K&N series, ARCA series, Drift series, Trans Am series. So it's becoming a very universal transmission. Just probably the biggest reason is because most of the drivers like the way it shifts.
I think I've only seen this cover system on yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically you got direct shift rails over here, and you said your bias control for the shift tension for both rails is basically one on this side and one on that side.
And neutral is independent as well.
So you have a different neutral feel,
Yes.
and then a bias feel for the other gates. And the interlocks are in the cover. There's no other in the
There's
shifter.
an interlock in here. Yeah.
Right, so one interlock basically handles everything. That's pretty simple. And so you got straight rail, nice shifting.
Very
Beautiful.
positive.
Very positive.
Dog system. Everything is done from forgings. It's all 9310. It's all vacuum, heat treated. So as far as
Why has this got the different coloring on it then?
that's the shot peen. So what you're seeing here, the gold here,
Yeah.
is the actual shot peen of the part. We don't shot peen our face plates.
Uh-huh.
You don't see it on the top because the tops are actually lapped.
So how come it turns gold?
It's have something to do with the chemistry in 9310.
So when you shot P9310, it actually...
When it's done in a vacuum, they come out looking like titanium. So then you can see here, we did a secondary operation of lapping. That's the gray there.
Right.
This is all ground and hard turn for consistency as far as you can see out here.
So on all of the gears, you can change the dog ring on the gear. You don't have to throw the gear away anymore.
Yeah.
Did somebody hug you for that?
Oh yeah, all the time.
God, that's just.
If you got a good driver, it doesn't matter.
Well, I know, but still, eventually you're gonna need to change one.
And
Why do you have to throw the whole gear away?
That's $100 and some as opposed to
Right.
a couple $100.
So I had no idea that shot peening in the vacuum would make 9310 that color.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was one
Every
of the
gear-
fancy copper things like that you did.
Even this gear before we rem it,
Uh-huh.
when it comes back from heat treat,
Uh-huh.
it looks about like that.
Okay.
Clean. There's no
Right.
carbon. There's none of that. And then when you shot peen it just they literally.
Are all of your gears rammed, or is it an option?
We rem every gear. We don't do input shafts. We don't do main shafts. We grind the main shafts to a 6 micro finish. Ram is very consistent for taking off exterior surfaces.
Right.
When I take this gear and I rem it, it will not remove material from the ID. So that gear is ground to size. It then goes into gear grinder. We grind the teeth. The problem with shafts is if I rem the shaft, it's gonna, if I've got something that's got 4/10 tolerance, the rem's not gonna hold that.
Right.
So on a cluster shaft, an example, which does have a gear on it, if you notice, you see the shiny, these are all ground after rem. So they're shot peened, remmed, I don't care what it does to the size because these aren't.
Because you leave a little bit on there to knock it off in the
right.
final.
So we
final
do a
deal.
final grind here for support bearing, final grind here for the actual other bearing on the other end.
Right.
Your pump, there's a pump on the back of it. There's a pump driver that goes in there, drives right off it. We're using Johnson pumps, which are right over there.
You're probably the only
Two-stage.
person who's actually using involute splines on the shafts. Everybody's still using regular rectangular splines.
That's not, the involute spline is, as far as vibration, is way better. The problem with straight-sided splines is unless you make it correctly, where it's a tight, either major or minor diameter fit,
it's going to get loose.
it's going to get loose.
Yeah.
And you'll see a driver will go around a track and all of a sudden he says, I got vibration. Well, that gear is locked in a bad spot. And until he takes his foot off the throttle, it's locked in that spot. Takes his foot off the throttle, all of a sudden, vibration went away.
Right.
5 laps later, same thing happens. So the beauty of an involute spline is it's got a high pressure angle and it seats in its neutral spot and it stays there. So as far as vibration, things like that, and the other difference is when we actually manufacture these gears with splines, the sleeve we use is a hydraulic sleeve that is the same as this spline with slots in it. So when I grind the gear, it expands on the PD of the spline, so I grind the gear exactly how it runs inside the transmission.
That's awesome.
So as far as, again, efficiency, vibration, you can't do anything better than that. I can guarantee having steel all the time, and I can guarantee my own chemistry. But the bottom line is I got a better piece, because when you make the forging, it changes the grain flow to match the way the load is in the gear. Right. Otherwise, steel is basically just a big coil, which is the total opposite direction of the load. When you forge it, it changes the patterns vertically. So now the grain flow of the steel is in the same direction as that we're actually loading.
You're welcome.
Take care.
All right.
Always a pleasure talking to Andrews Products.
This is the Richmond overdrive 5-speed, right?
Yeah, this is what we did, Paul, is that we only did the overdrive. The street 5-speed 1-to-1.
It's dead.
It's past the use by date, right? I mean, fun to drive. Real fun to drive. So what we did on this was there's 3 first gear ratios. We've done it in its entirety. So 289, 306, 313 first gears, 0.77 overdrive. Factory billet main plate now here, rather than a casting and machine.
The billet aluminum?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're only doing it with 1.8" by 26" in and 32 out.
Right.
Previously they had board 10 spline, Chev 10 spline, all sorts of
most people can change their clutch disc and pilot bushing if they need to.
And also you've got the QuickTime bell housing now. If you want to put it behind, they have one for Richmond 5-speed behind flathead forward.
Right.
So.
But actually, you were good.
And this is available to ship now?
Yeah, but this particular one would have oil leak issues.
Yes. So here's a gear with a floating synchronizer cone. It just goes on like that. And the trick is that it's got to float. And if you notice that the engagement teeth have stops built into them so you don't wipe out your shift forks. This is how it should be done. And that's done by Ron Weddle.
Well, unfortunately, I can't lay claim to that,
but these are the guys that carry the transmissions from the Aldens. Excellent. And also notice too what you're doing too, which a lot of people don't seem to get, is that you put a lead in on the dog ring teeth.
And there's people that will argue that back and forth. Even Albans actually doesn't do that on all their gears anymore.
Right. I find a lead-in. I happen to think a lead-in is very important because it doesn't create the forks to bend, because your initial shock load isn't blunt force against something. letting it go through. So you have the integral release bearing built into the whole bell housing and box, and so.
And
Is this float or this is stationary? It's a floating shaft that pulls in and out. Yeah, I could see it. Well,
all the specs on it. But Alpins was approached a couple years ago to develop the control box for V8 supercars in Australia. So they came out with.
What is a V8 supercar though?
V8 supercar is kind of like our NASCAR, but instead of being oval track, it's based on a 6-speed sequential gear stack right here, and it has 2 drop gears. Basically, which make, when they go to different tracks, they want different ratios. So it makes the ratio changes.
So you can do the drop gears and over here to tweak it for the ratio.
So this is the original right here, which is the front engine, rear transaxle. Here's the inline version. This version is in Robbie Gordon's trophy trucks. He's also running it in his Gordini, which he developed for Dakar, which is going to be running next month.
So this is a sequential box?
Yeah, it's the same thing. So the gear stack from here to here, and this is the front engine rear transaxle. This is the inline version of it right here.
Okay.
And then that's the mid-engine version of it here.
That's wild.
If you look at all of these,
basically the same concept, but they just move everything around.
Exactly. So depending on your configuration, it's really versatile. That's
Who's running a mid-engine with something like this? This is amazing. This is a billet aluminum bell housing, all machined.
Actually, yeah, they just made for.
What's all the commotion going on about Bert transmissions? Let's go look at them. Okay, this is an oval trap car, and I wanted to show you something. This is a transmission by a company called Bert. Okay, it's basically an in and out box, 1 gear in, 1 gear out, and reverse. And what happens is, look how short the transmission is. Look at the bell housing. Look at the way the starter is located on the top for ground clearance to keep everything up high. Notice that the transmission is very up high. There's a little oil pump over there on the side. You see? See the little drive shaft, the way it works? The whole idea in these transmissions is basically it's 1 gear in and out, and it's up high for ground clearance. Look in the front now. See how the bell housing almost ties right into the frame? And this drives the transmission over here. You see how this whole piece is kind of attached in one shot, and then the engine bolts to that and just kind of dowels in over here.
Reverse, low gear, and direct drive.
So it's basically 2-speed and a direct, low, and reverse. And a beautiful compact package.
You got that right.
So what do we have for the oil pump for the engine?
Yeah, that's your engine oil pump here. That's your power steering pump, and that's the fuel pump.
All in one drive.
Yeah. So we don't make this.
Right.
The people make that. We make the bell housing, the training.
So you make the bell housing, and obviously everything's designed for low ground clearance. So you put the starters up here, and you got everything low over here, like that. And then that is really slick. So this drives off of what? A pulley off of the
onto your input shaft there. You have another
drive
pulley that drives this through a belt, and it's adjustable height-wise. That deal.
Interesting. So the input is always turning.
So when you fire up your engine, that turns right away.
Right.
That's on your input shaft. These transmissions have a clutch inside the tranny.
Oh, it clutches inside the transmission. So it's
direct.
Is it in here?
It's in here. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I got it. Now I understand it better.
That's the inside of that tranny right here.
Wow. So it's almost like a planetary setup, right?
It is.
Yes. Can you make us fix something?
So then what happens is basically the planetary does the reduction for first gear, and then it locks and reverse, and then it locks up for direct.
One in direct drive.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how that turns.
So it basically moves the sun gear out and locks it to the shaft directly.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Fantastic. What kind of horsepower can these things handle?
900 easily.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah.
900 horsepower. These are Hewlin transaxles, and there's different versions. This is a 4-speed H-pattern transaxle, 5-speed H-pattern transaxle, and this is an H-pattern 5-speed transaxle as well. So you can see they get bigger and bigger as they can carry more torque. I think it's a typical H-pattern transaxle again, but you can see as they go from small to large, the sizes of them. And the name of this company is Samsonas. So this is a 6-speed sequential box. And so what happens is the shifter moves this lever, which moves the barrel down over here. And that's how typical sequential operations work. Each one of these barrels over here is got a drive pin in it that drives the fork back and forth to each dog ring gear. Very quick, precise shifting.
This is the V8 from a BMW. It looks like a Ford.
This is a BMW M3 E36 E46 dog ring box. This runs a conventional H pattern?
It's H pattern.
Right, it's H pattern shifter. What are these used for? Rally cars?
Any rally car or any drift car.
Do they use these for drifting a lot?
Yeah, for big power.
What kind of power does something like this take?
This one can work on 1,000 Newton meters. That one 1,400 Newton meters.
Beautiful, beautiful workmanship. And this is the Mitsubishi EVO dog ring box as well. This is a front wheel drive? Or
four-wheel drive.
Four-wheel drive? So there's, I see they got the drive coming out.
Transfer box here.
The transfer box comes out over here. So it's all-wheel drive, typically a rally car or like that.
A rally car, also time attack or track car.
Now this is a complete Subaru transaxle. It's amazing to see all this stuff. And this is sequential?
Yeah. Full sequential.
And you make the castings and everything for these?
No, we don't make. We make only the kit, the plate.
So this is the actual case, the factory case?
These cases are, these three parts are ON.
The original cases?
Yeah.
Wow. So they make a whole kit to retrofit it?
Yep. Very easy for a customer to fit on the car.
Interesting. Very good. So this is the new Mustang GT cooler scoop for the transmission. Apparently, maybe the transmission runs hot during road race applications, so they got the scoop that attaches to the frame and directs air underneath the scoop and through the transmission, cooling the vanes over here, the gearbox. It seems very crude, but apparently it works. So this is used in the Citroens and the Peugeots. This,
for example, or Clio Williams.
Right.
We supplied also for the new 500 Abarth from Fiat.
Right. So show me how I just want to put it down. So the shaft, it comes out. Here, take it out for me like that. So they could take the shaft out and you could change it to different splines configurations. It floats on the main drive section of the transmission, floats on the bearing, and the piston is integral and part of that system. That's pretty nice. Very nice setup. Very well engineered.
Bacci.
Yes.
Bacci Romano.
I'm always amazed at the amount of stickers that people grab at these shows. It's like a phenomenon I just don't understand. I mean, they'll go through thousands and thousands of stickers. Check this out. So I'm just curious, how many decals and stickers do you move a day?
Thousands.
Thousands.
We've got some events where we have boxes of like our Diesel Motorsport stickers that we hand out. We walk around and hand them out. We've gone through probably 3,000 in that.
It's crazy.
4-hour period before.
Really? 3,000 in a 4-hour period?
Oh yeah. Just in
So
like a
this is Magnus.
Yep.
Magnus Racing Products, and this is their dog ring style face-plated Saginaw 3-speed?
3-speed.
3-speed gear set with a rollerized reverse, rollerized first gear. Second gear isn't rollerized,
Second
but
gear is.
so it's all rollerized.
Yep.
So first, second, and reverse are rollerized, and it's
first and reverse are lightened.
The first and reverse are lightened, and it's also face plated.
Yep.
So what does this total assembly weigh with the transmission when it's done?
Rotating assembly is around 24 pounds.
Amazing, amazing. What kind of horsepower can you figure these handle?
525.
525 horse. Is that awesome? Yeah. Beautiful work. You making your own sliders?
That's just that backwards, a stock slider turned down.
Wow. Oh, so you turn everything down, right? That's gorgeous.
This is a 2-speed.
2-speed.
Yeah.
You made it out of a Saginaw 3-speed.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you've got your it's almost like a vertigate shifted, but just basically.
Yeah. Right here is low gear.
Right.
And you just pull straight back for high gear.
Awesome. And then you put.
And then for reverse, you just pick up and pull forward.
That's nice.
And that goes right into reverse.
Yeah. That's perfect lockout. A great idea.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's
small,
your,
compact.
Yeah. Magnus shifter. 2-speed shifter. Yep. It's a beauty.
I'm Rhonda. I'm the real Rhonda. No, I'm Rhonda. I'm Rhonda. I'm Gear Rhonda. No, I'm Gear Rhonda.
Okay, so I'm with Joe and what's your name? David Gallon at PPG Pittston. And they designed this beautiful sequential shift T56 Magnum transmission, gears and everything. So why don't you tell me about the system here? First of all, what I like about it is the rake on your dog rings. That makes me really happy. Okay, and just show us how it works. Good. So the shift is just sequential shifter, by the way. It's just one way up, one way down. Up shift, down shift. Right? And the low runs on a barrel like this. And they managed to take this barrel and fit it up in here in a transmission using the stock castings, which is a real cool engineering feat. Look at that. So they make these gear sets with the dog rings and with the sequential shifting.
We have several ratios available, including a 1-to-1 6-gear ratio as well.
Really? That's beautiful.
The nice part about it, it can be literally fitted into anything that a G56 can be fitted into.
Sure.
Inside the transmission.
But this is a Formula One gearbox?
Correct, yeah, 2013.
The 2013 Formula. Did all the Formula One cars use the same gearbox? Or?
No, most of the teams produce their own.
Right.
And we produce parts for. But on this particular team, we did the whole transmission.
So, amazing. All right, thank you. So this Formula One gearbox is by a company called Extract. They make some of the finest gearboxes around for Formula One race cars. And here, I want to show you something. These are the shift barrels for the sequential shift. Notice how they have all these holes in here, which are for lightening it. This whole gearbox is to be made extremely light. All the shafts in the box are all hollowed completely. It's very rare, you very rarely get to see a Formula One gearbox apart. And you can see they run the dual shift mechanisms over here for the shift barrels. And it's all computer controlled, obviously, and paddle shifted. But you can really look down and see how tiny everything is. It's all about RPM. These things spin up to about 20,000 RPM. And it's not really a horsepower thing. But let's look at the case. This is the case that transmission fits into. I want you to take a look here at the size of the clutch on this transmission. The clutch fits inside of this little area from AP. So the Evo 10 Mitsubishi is an all-wheel drive car, and this is the transmission for the all-wheel drive Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of horsepower do these put out?
This car is doing 1150.
1150 horsepower. And it's all-wheel drive. Like they drag race all-wheel drive. Amazing.
Yeah.
No, I'd never, you don't think about it like that. To see 4 tires smoking,
Yeah.
Right, the 4 tires smoke. This is beautiful. So there's all the dog ring engagement. What kind of RPMs?
These are for H pattern. These are the...
So they do the drag box in sequential as well?
Yeah. No. This is a sequential box.
But this looks a little smaller transmission. What is this for?
That one is for rock racing mostly. But when they want it for drag, we make all this bigger.
Wow. You got a little oil pump in here. Is that what that is over here? This is driving an oil pump down here.
You have any line? You guys work any lines, or you have any lines?
One thing you see a lot of is these floating input shafts. You see they have the bearing over here again. I've showed you this before, but the input kind of just splines right into the main drive. And so sometimes the main drive may be down here. See where it is. Main drive is down over here. And so it kind of goes through the gear, and this will probably be floating on a bearing somewhere in the case, maybe like this over here, about here. So the bearing holds it over here, and it just floats, and everything just spins around it. And it's that simple. So it's like the shaft is within, it's down over here. I just had to show you this. This is a 5-axis machining center, machining a giant cylinder head out of billet aluminum. This is what the head looks like. Graffiti from Billet Connection.
I can
hey, Mike.
Hello there.
This is a really neat product I saw. Show me it, Mike.
Okay, see-through filter assembly. Basically, when the motor's running, you can determine the condition of the oil by looking through the windows. After you shut the engine off, a small shot of compressed air will empty the filter assembly completely to where you can examine every particle that's been filtered out of your engine in seconds, without draining any oil, without leaking any fluid, and without taking any fasteners or fittings apart, and no loss of fluid out of the system.
So this is the high tower 3-speed, and beautiful work. I love the way it looks too. I mean, the aesthetics, the colors, amazing. And I remember your shifter, you had the special shifter because it kind of had like a vertigate type arrangement on it like that. Does it work like that the same way on the 3-speed?
This one's H pattern.
That's an H pattern, that one.
See,
right.
First, second, third.
Right. Amazing. It does it all by itself.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And this is a 4-speed?
3-speed.
That's a 3-speed as well.
That's two different. That's a Pro Lake model. This is a Super Lake model. One's got 400 horsepower, another's got over 600.
Wow.
It's 600.
How much is this? How much does this thing weigh?
It weighs 60 pounds.
Wow. Do you do like gun drill the main shafts and stuff like that? Yeah. Let's go look at the 4-speeds.
Right. Turn that one.
Mm-hmm.
Turn that one right there. That's in here.
Wow. It's effortless. It's beautiful work. Just love the way this came out. And this is your 4-speed, this one over here?
That's the one in action right there. 1,350 horsepower.
This is your 4-speed shifter. Now, I forget, what was the unique thing about this shifter again? Because I remember your design was unique to anybody else's, was that the rail, the gates are vertical. Right. That saves space, keeps better alignment, and
it shifts quicker.
I could see that. Yeah, it's amazing feeling. I love the action on it. It's probably the best feeling shifter I've seen here at the show.
Well, I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thanks, Johnny. All right. These are the Hightower transmissions. I've known Johnny Hightower for years, and he specialized in inventing this shifter over here. It's a very unique shifter. The way the gates are managed on the transmission with the rails kind of on top of one another like this, but it's got an amazing action to it, and the way it feels is incredible. It's a little bit big, but For race car, it doesn't really matter, but this is an amazing shifter and amazing setup. He's been around for years. I've known this guy for over 10 years easily, and his workmanship is impeccable. And pretty much he's running the same faceplated designs like everybody else is, but he's had a lot of experience in racing and kind of knows what works and what doesn't work. It's been a great 2 days at the PRI show. It's over. I've had a lot of fun talking transmissions and gears to a bunch of people. I want to thank every one of them who took the time to, out of their busy day, to stop and explain to me, you know, what their transmissions are about and some of the new things that they're doing with them. So from the Indianapolis Convention Center, thanks a lot. Take care.